Hey everyone, Papercut here with another fully annotated game where I break down my thought process, what I'm doing, and how my opponent could have countered me. Today I'm doing an HRE game where I Dark Age rush this China player. Why is that? Well, let's break down the strategy as we're getting into the game. First, HRE's eco is the strongest in Dark Age. You start with a prelate, and that prelate can boost all your starting villagers, meaning your eco is very, very strong. That means that a Dark Age rush works very well for HRE. Their eco will still stick up to with other civs, even if you're focusing on getting a lot of different resources, and you can pump out spears without really slowing down your age up if you macro correctly. China, on the other hand, is just a very strong civ economically overall, and they're a civ that you don't really want to fight into mid, feudal, and castle, as their ability to get lots of extra resources through Imperial officials and their ability to pump out units quickly because of the Imperial officials means that I just don't want to get into that fight with them. I'd rather gain an advantage through early Dark Age. Why Dark Age rush any civ? Well, the idea is that your opponent probably has a plan that they're executing, a build order that they know really well. Dark Age rushing can often make your opponent make bad decisions. Hypothetically, a Dark Age rush isn't that hard to beat, and oftentimes if you counter it well, your opponent's at a massive disadvantage. But if your opponent's not expecting a Dark Age rush, or overreacts, underreacts, misses things, they get overwhelmed and they mess up their build order. You're also testing your opponent's decision-making ability. Can they quickly change their plan on the fly and still maximize what they want to do? Or will they keep making mistakes, causing you to gain an advantage? Which we're going to see here. My opponent starts making a lot of little mistakes that for China is killer. Anyway, so knowing that, I'm going to open up with all 5 villagers on wood because HRE starts with a low amount of wood. So HRE starts with less resources because of the prelate buff. So I had to have 5 villagers gather wood to afford that barracks, and then I left 2 to 3 on wood so I could keep making spears and eventually get a tower. I saw that my opponent was super heavy on gold, which means that they did have the gold they needed to age up, but this tower isn't stopping the age up, the tower's stopping the mill and threatening their food. China is a unique civ. They don't have their villagers near their TC to gather food. A big thing for them is that when their villagers drop off resources at an economic building, they leave taxes. Taxes can be gathered by Imperial officials. Imperial officials can also buff and increase the amount of resources dropped off by focusing on an economic building. So that means that China wants to build a mill to then be able to have an Imperial official watching it. I'm going to tower this gold and this berries, which one will make it so his Imperial official won't be as effective. He'll have to move his villagers, move his resource gatherers somewhere else. And then hopefully he'll forget to move his Imperial official, which means he won't be getting the resources that he really wants. Once I get that tower down though, I'm going to put 4 spears on it. That's because that's enough to defend the tower if he will pulls, but also means I can have a spear go scout other golds. It's very common for people to try to go take another gold if you're Dark Age rushing them. I did mess up this tower here. This tower should have been a little bit farther forward. I was afraid about it being hit by the TC, but the tower was like an inch forward, like just an inch forward or 1 tile forward. I think I deny his sheep as well, which are next to the mill. The thing to remember about towers, when you click on it, the dotted line shows where the tower will hit, but you have to also consider that line will get larger if you get arrow slits. So if you're trying to deny something, at least try to get the dotted line right next to where you want to deny, because then when you upgrade it, it will then fully deny it. I then scout and see that there's a gold behind his base. I do this full circle because I want to see if there's any behind the base resources he is likely going to try to grab. So I send a spear up there because I anticipate he's going to get gold. Wow, that was a lot of talking. We take a breath here. So how could he have countered this? The thing we're going to see here is that I don't think my opponent fully appreciates how many units I'm going to dedicate to this and how I'm going to go all on here. It really seems like he has his game plan and he wants to stick to that game plan instead of adjusting for this Dark Age rush. Here's 2 ways you counter a tower and a Dark Age rush like this. 1, the second you see it, you immediately pull 5 vills or 6 or 7 or however many you want, but as long as you can still keep making villagers, right? And gather 150 wood. You gather 100 for the tower, 50 for the mill, and then you just go take another gold. He could have done that immediately and taken that gold before I could have responded, because if I had set my spears up to stop him towering, he could have pulled his vills and burned my tower before it was done. So like, I have to stand there and defend the tower until it's down, which buys him time to go put a tower on another gold. His other option was he ages up like normal, and since he has Imperial officials, especially good for China, he could have just dropped the barracks and just mass produced quickly like 7 or 8 spears and burned the tower down before I upgraded it. My key point here is that if I can age up, get stone, and then upgrade the tower, arrow slits makes it a lot harder to kill, but before then it's actually not doing that much damage. So if he makes like 5 or 6 spears real fast, he could have the spears attack the tower, pull a bunch of vills and burn the tower, and then kill my spears before I can do anything. He honestly doesn't do that. Like, he has this ability to his China. If you don't know the Imperial officials, you see the guy with the gold above his head observing the mill. Those Imperial officials, when they observe, on an economic building, it will cause the villager to drop off more resources and increase the speed of research. But if he was doing that to a military building, it causes the production speed to increase. So he could have very easily just like pumped out a bunch of spears before I even had this age up done and then burned the tower. But instead, he's pretty indecisive. He goes to the gold late, he's trying to tower, he delays the tower, he sees I have a spear, realizes he can fight it. And he's like, I'm expecting him to start making units, but there's like no units being made. I decided to do an even greedier tower here to try to burn his, to try to deny his other food. But he just does the smart thing, pulls his vills and burns the tower, and I don't even notice. So I do lose 100 wood to that tower, and I don't think he loses a vill because, once again, there's no arrow slits. It could have done more damage if there was arrow slits. So I age up. I pull 3... Oh, I'm going to pause here for a second because I forgot to turn the health bars back on. Whenever I record videos, I turn the health bars off to make it look nicer. So I just forgot. I forgot to do that. So I'm restarting it. He's really cool about it, so I appreciate it. So if you want to upgrade a tower as HRE, your tower upgrades are cheaper. So I'm just going to pull 3 vills to do 1 gather of stone to upgrade that tower of arrow slits. But eventually I'll put 2 vills on there permanently because I'm going to keep making towers. So I drop another tower there. This one still accomplishes the goal. He has to move the sheep. And here's the thing. He has to remember to move the mill over, move the imperial official, and still gather that. My plan at home is that I'm not going to do an immediate hardcore push. I am going to upgrade my spears and keep making spears, but I'm going to spend some wood on farms. Why is that? I'm going to make farms, so then I just pull my spears out and kill the horseman. The reason I want to make farms is that my Aachen chapel with a prelate in it boosts the gather rate of all the villagers in the circle around the Aachen. So this actually makes farms pretty good. Like if my opponent's on deer will be better, but the thing about farms is farms are permanent. Farms are right next to the Aachen. The Aachen's a drop-off building, so that actually makes it very efficient. And that means that it's going to be hard for him to raid my eco. So when I think about what my focus is going to be on, my focus is going to be on fighting and doing all this Dark Gate and doing all this pressure stuff. Like I want to make towers. I want to be pressuring my units. I don't want to be worried about my villagers at home. So the farms make sense for me. And then once I get those farms set up, my eco is going to be really good. Would have been better if I just immediately moved vills to deer. Yeah, but one way he could have got back in the game was he could have been raiding my units on outside resources, and that would have been bad. And I saw he went horseman to open. So I was immediately afraid of the horseman raids. I also thought he might be trying to pro scout because Chinese players love to pro scout. So once again, it's like he's not adjusting his plan. Where are his units? He's not making units. Instead, he's letting me kind of do a soft boom with farms, and then I myself am going to start making lots of units. I start making my own horsemen because I see the archery range, and then I'm going to start making men at arms and spears. So I'm going to do 1-1-1. So I'm doing each type of unit. I'm doing spear, men at arm, I'm doing horsemen, I'm doing archers. So then I'm dropping the tower, and then my plan is to go stop his next gold gather. I know he's on the gold up there. He towered very badly. I'm going to send those vills to deer because I'm just out of sheep. So, and also I'm taking the deer that's shaded by my unit. So you see what I mean? My spears are currently protecting the route he would need to take to go to that deer to raid it. So like I'm taking the deer that I'm already kind of protecting with my units. I'm not taking the deer on the left side of the map that's shaded towards his base. So if you're going to take map resources, try to take the map resources that are kind of soft protected by your units. Anyway, so they're going to go on deer. I'm going to go drop another tower. See the dotted line? I make sure the dotted line's covering the gold. And now I'm just going to deny this other gold because this tower he dropped was really bad. This tower doesn't actually protect his gold. So once he's denied off this gold, I just want to make sure he's not like rushing a castle age. I don't think he can because his food situation is pretty bad, but I'm just going to push him off that gold. I've upgraded that tower, so now those spears can be popped out here and used in a second. And now what I like to do is whenever I'm doing like the soft farm transition, I just rally to wood. And then whenever I have extra wood, I pull a villager off the wood line and make farms. Now I'm going to pull 2 vills to stone because I have a bunch of towers I need to upgrade. Getting the upgrade that makes them stone towers as well makes it really hard for them to burn. And then I start seeing the boar is being killed, so I know he's going to that boar, but I don't feel comfortable yet attacking it because in my mind I'm like, he's been making, I can't see, but I assume he's making lots of archers and horsemen, and he's defending the boar with that. So I need my own units before I can go attack that. One thing he should have been trying to do way more is raid me. Like he's making horsemen. He really tried 1 horseman raid. After that, no more raids. So like my eco has been completely untouched. So this tower's about to get down. I see this horseman lurking here. But the tower's going to get down and he's going to have to... He already left the gold because he knew it was coming. So now he's off gold. I know he's probably on the resource in the back of the map, but being on berries isn't like the biggest deal in the world. My next thing I can deny is woodline. So I see all his villagers on the woodline right there, and that's just another tower I can use to deny. I'm getting survival techniques, which is always important to get when you're on deer. It really improves the gather rate of deer. I add a couple more farms. So like I'm doing my me and my friends joke, we call it our macro turn, where it's like you need to just focus on doing macro. I need to be spending my resources. So another house, more units, upgrades, and then I'm gonna pull 2 vills to drop this tower because I really want this tower to get up quickly. If I had a bunch of archers here, I could easily just start sniping villagers, but it's whatever. If you notice, once we go back to his base again, one of the biggest mistakes he makes is that mill is really bad. He has villagers that are dropping off at the TC instead of the mill. So that means that the villagers are not creating tax income. So already, like, my pressure is causing him to miss out on resources. I don't know. There could have been plenty of times his imperial official was on the wrong economy building. And it just means that his economy is just not being efficient. So I'm going to dive here. Once again, villagers moving is villager damage. Villagers moving is villager damage. And I'm feeling pretty good. I still haven't seen his army yet. But it's always dangerous to run under a Chinese or Zushi TC because they have the cannon tower slit upgrade, which means that they do a lot of damage. So he's going to counter tower. And then I see the Zugno. I'm like, that's not a lot of Zugno. And also, since he has Zugno, that means he has a Barbican of the Sun somewhere, because China can't make Zugno unless they have both feudal landmarks, which means he's invested 600 resources in a Barbican somewhere. So to me, it's like, once again, he's not respecting the fact that I'm making units. He is like spending resources on more landmarks. He's spending resources on God knows what. He's just not making the units. Like, he still only has 2 production buildings that I can see, at least. While I keep adding production and keep spending. My goal is that my production buildings are always working. He tries to do a Vil snipe, which is smart, but I have too many units here. He then catches a raid here. So I'm just going to pull my horsemen, because I see he only has 2 horsemen. So my 5 horsemen will kill his 2 horsemen in the scout. So I'm not going to overreact to the raid. I don't want to pull all my units and then he kills my towers. And then I realize, oh, the boar's like dead. I should go check that now, because I see all the Zugnor standing there. So first, I'm going to kill his horsemen. I think he was sending those horsemen to help with the raid, but then they got caught in the towers. I'm going to go down and check the boar down here. I put those vills back on the deer because I'm chasing the horsemen away now. Add a bunch more houses. So early on, I do house by house because I don't want to overspend. I don't want to overspend my wood. But now it's just like I want to stop being pot capped. That's a lot of Zugnu, but 4 villagers in a tower, they can't push that yet. He could have pulled his vills and burned it. Like, once again, decisiveness against a tower rush like this is important. All my units are gone. He could have easily pulled all his vills and burned that tower down super fast. I catch the Barbican, but he doesn't have enough spaces for all the villagers there, and my tower is killing villagers because he's distracted. So right now he's watching this Vil raid where I get a lot of vills. He's probably tracking the horsemen are being chased, and he doesn't even catch that my tower on the wood line has been arrow slit upgraded and is shooting and killing villagers constantly. The key here, usually towers behind a wood line actually can't shoot villagers because you can't see over wood lines. But since I have a tower that's near the berries, it's actually giving me vision on his wood line vills. So I am getting a lot of kills on the wood line right now. So once again, he's just missing things. And this is kind of how you win with Dark Age into a feudal rush like this with all these towers. You cause so many pings, you make it hard for them to make a decision. There's so many times he had a chance where if my units leave the area of a tower, to just pull a bunch of villagers and military and just burn towers down. Like, anytime a tower doesn't have anyone in it, as long as it's not a stone tower, you can burn it super easy. At any point, he could have dropped a blacksmith to get rams, but rams are expensive. Like, he just pulled and burned any number of these towers. None of them are stone upgraded. But he doesn't ever just, like, take that opening. It seems like he's just very focused on like what he's doing with his base. I then see that he doesn't have a lot of military, and I just killed all of his horsemen on raids. So I'm going to take this fight here. This feels like a really good opportunity for me. I just got my arrow ranged armor, so his Zugnu are doing a lot less damage. I just have a lot of units here. Don't get me wrong, his Zugnu are still very strong, but it would have been helped if I had arrow attack myself. But like, I'm feeling good here. The key is that what will lose me this game is if I chase him under TC and just die. So what I'm not going to do, sorry about that, was a Slack message for my work. What I'm not going to do is chase under his TC. I have created a huge advantage. I've killed a lot of vills. The worst thing that could happen here is I throw all my units away and then he gets the counter push. So I'm going to pull all my idle units. It's really important that you have an all idle military button. An all idle military button really makes sure that any unit that got rallied but is not fighting is doing something. So I bring all my units forward, and now we redive, and now he realizes it's game over. Whenever I'm chasing units like this, I pull units to go chase villagers. I see there's villagers north, and he taps out. And there were villagers on the berries, so my archers are about to go over there and just start killing all his villagers on berries. But overall, that game was extremely winnable for the China player. His eco, we're going to look at the eco here in a second. His eco was still as good as mine for most of the game. The issue was that he never fully appreciated the seriousness of the situation, and he never just committed to making units and decisively fighting me. 2, he missed a lot of opportunities where, like, I just left my towers alone, and he could have just pulled villagers and units to burn them, but he didn't. Instead, it seemed like he was still trying to commit to his game plan, but not very well, which caused him to just fall off. Like, my military numbers just way outgrow him, and then he throws a lot of units away on raids. Like, the 2 different raid groups he did, he only got like a couple vills, but then lost a bunch of them. And while on his hand, his split focus caused him to lose villagers all over the place. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what other civs you'd like me to see broken down, or styles you'd like to see me play and break down. Check out my YouTube membership, my Patreon, my Twitch if you want to see more content from me. And thank you so much.